All right. Hi, welcome to the newest episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Deep Mahmood, with my normal co-host Hunter. And today we're going to be talking about potentially some sign stealing going on in college football, some NFL news, and then the MLB playoffs. So recently, a couple of days ago, there was that report that Jim Harbaugh was reportedly sign stealing, which then brought about an interview that Greg Schiano did a few years ago about saying we know something was going wrong in there. But what are your thoughts on this whole thing? Do you think it's a witch hunt? Do you think it's actually something?
So like if you read it right, there seems to be like this analyst staff member who would be kind of like using signals, tapping his head, doing a bunch of stuff like with his body to like alert the Michigan coach and everything that, oh, like this is their next play and all that. To me, and this is just my opinion, it seems like maybe like a watered down case of Spygate that we saw with the Patriots. I think it's kind of similar to that. Do I think it's as bad as what that was? No, I don't think so. But I also don't think it's a witch hunt or anything like that. I do think if this does go bad for Michigan, and say they have to vacate some wins, have a postseason bowl ban, or the program gets a massive fine, or university, I could see Jim Harbaugh abandoning ship and leaving after the season and going to the NFL and be like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is the second time I've been investigated. I'm out. I'm going to go to an NFL team because we you know it. How many times has he flirted with NFL jobs the past couple of years?
Multiple.
Quite a bit. He's
Yep.
been involved. So that could happen. That said, again, I don't think it's a witch hunt. I do think there is something there. I don't think this will just come up out of the blue for no reason, even though the NCAA is a bit weird. You can call them corrupt if you will. I would not argue against that. I don't like the NCAA, to be honest. But I do think there is something there. There's a Greg Schiano interview, the Rutgers head coach. Did you see that, by the way,
Yeah,
that
I
popped up?
mentioned it.
He even said that, yeah, there's some weird fishy stuff going on. And I think maybe that was a hint at it. But overall, it's if we're talking sign stealing, wouldn't like I feel like a lot of programs are and even NFL teams sign steal. Like I feel
Yeah,
like that.
NFL's tougher because of the
Yeah,
communication. Only the coordinator to the quarterback.
colleges, I think it's easier to do it than NFL, but like you do see it around college football as well. I think this is more like a mini version of Spygate, in my opinion, if it does end up being the case. That's really what I think about it. It definitely doesn't look good. You know, this is the second time this year that the university or the football program has been under investigation. Harbaugh was suspended earlier this year by the university. It's not a good look, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I think so. From my understanding, is there's a rule that you can't have anyone go to other teams' practices or
Right.
games. You can't have that, which is a weird rule because a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, it's like self scouting. What's the difference?" You're right. I do think it is kind of like Spygate. I do think there's a little bit of the Houston Astros, what they do in baseball, because it seems like what's going on here is if this is true and they did have someone going to these practices, it was someone would be going to these practices, videotaping these practices, and then going into the game plan saying, "Oh, if someone's lined up a certain way, oh, they're blitzing," so it's going to letting them know, "Oh, their blitz is coming, or what type of coverage is coming." So I think it's kind of like I think it's kind of like both. I think it's kind of like both. It's like a combination of the two. My stance on it is this. Look, I've made it clear on several episodes. When it came to the Houston Astros thing, I believe that every team has some sort of sign stealing scheme going on. Houston was the only team being caught. So for me, I have never really been critical about the whole sign stealing stuff. I just been consistent on that one. I think with the Spygate, that one is more egregious because we don't have that track record like in baseball of 100 plus years of sign stealing, which by the way, there are people saying that the whole sign stealing stuff in baseball, there's a legal and illegal form. If it's been going on for 100 plus years and you're defining what the legal form of it and then what the illegal form, at some point it blends together. And
Right.
like, so I don't know that part, but I do think that if it does kind of lean more towards the Astros thing, where you are kind of doing the self scouting and just for the purposes of just indicating during the game when there are blitzes. There are two indications. One, that is an issue because you are intentionally trying to do it to gain an advantage. So it's a more electronic or insidious version of the Spygate. And then, but also, if you're also doing that, I do also wonder if there are some stuff going on within the game. And because technology can evolve to the point, so you do have that information. Maybe they have, even if it's like an intern kind of going into it, it's like, hey, I was given this information about this team and what's going on in this team, what they're doing today matches what they're doing. So yeah, let's keep this up. So it could this might be a non-story, but because of it's Michigan, and you like you said, Michigan has also been scapegoated multiple times, and they've done. And Harbaugh's been critical at the NCAA. So isn't it? It is interesting seeing that. Oh yeah, Michigan's the team that gets caught. If it was another team, maybe I would take it more seriously. But let's see what happens. It's just this could take a year, but let's move on to the NFL. Obviously, week 6, week 7. What were your reactions to the first set of games this week and last week?
Oh, last week's like it feels like a lifetime ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. That Eagles Jets game was hilarious last week. You and I were texting about it
Yeah.
throughout. That Jets defense is good though. It's a good unit. I mean, it's probably one of the best, 5, 6 best defenses in the league. They made the Eagles look really foolish throughout that. I mean, I feel like I don't remember as much about last week compared to this week. That Browns 49ers game was hilarious. Heck, the Browns Colts game this week is also hilarious. You have Myles Garrett, playing like one of the best defensive players in the league. He's definitely a favorite for the Defensive Player of the Year award right now. Excuse me. He's been a one-man wrecking crew against the Colts. The Ravens are such a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's just hilarious to me. You go from losing to the Steelers, who, I mean, I don't even think the Steelers are that good this year, and they have a chance to get to 4-2 today. You go from looking like crap against them, and then you light up one of the 3 best teams in the NFC today. Again, it's just they're just a very Jekyll and Hyde team to me. I want to see them do that on a consistent basis. I think before I label the Ravens as one of the main threats in the AFC, you have the Commanders looking like crap against the Giants, which is, pretty bad. I think the jury is starting to come out on Ron Rivera that maybe he was carried to the Super Bowl by Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly and some of these other guys in Carolina because he is not coaching a good game for the Commanders today. Have you been following the Bills-Patriots game? Because the Bills look bad. Like that is also, again, much like the Ravens, I think indeed, a very Jekyll and Hyde team. You can beat the Miami Dolphins 48-20 or whatever the score was. You put up over 40 points on them,
20.
and then you can't even score 10 points and a half against the Patriots. And we all know how bad the Patriots have been this year. This is the worst start they've been. This is the worst start they've had in the Bill Belichick era. And there have been, rumors that he signed a quiet extension over the season, even though Patriots fans kind of are done with him at this point because he hasn't had any success post Brady, which is honestly hilarious that they're starting to turn on Belichick now because of all the success he's had with Brady. But I think a good chunk of the success can be traced back to Brady. But Patriots are having their way with the Bills today, which, again, that's interesting to say the least. Is there any other game that has had your eye today or last week? Any of that
Not
stuff?
really. Other than the Ravens, I mean, you're right. I think this is probably their most complete game of the year. I mean,
Yeah.
the Colts game, they had multiple fumbles. That's part of the reason they lost. The what was it? Steelers game, they were dropping a bunch of passes, and Lamar
Right.
for some reason throws. Like, I don't know if that was meant to be like a back shoulder. I don't know what the timing was on the Odell thing. If he just hands the ball off, kicks the field goal, I don't know if the Steelers win that game. So that was a close game as well. The Titans game, yeah, they won that game. And then I will say this with the one I will say this for the Titans game. It is interesting seeing fans say, "Oh, we can't take field goals. We need to take touchdowns." And then it's like 4th and short or 4th and 1 in the red zone. You got to take the points. It's like, wait, so you want to take the points, which is 3, but not 0 or 7. But if you just gain another yard and a half, you have to do these mental gymnastics to justify not making a play to try to get another 1.5 yards. At which point you have a better chance of getting 7, and the whole impetus of this whole thing is take the points and then to get the 3, and then the very next sentence say, we need to get 7. Do you see the irony of that? It's like if you
Yeah.
just 2 yards, you have a better chance of getting 7. It's like you're playing poker and you're making a decision to cause you to lose money instead of a decision to cause you to win money when you have good odds. Like that part. But the red zone issue was obviously a big thing for them. They was it 3 out of 4. I mean, Justice Hill fumbled at the end of the first half. But other than that, I mean, they've been solid there. Not really. I mean, it's also interesting to see the two remaining undefeated teams last week lose. Obviously, the 49ers almost won. I mean,
I
it,
don't know. I'm sorry. You can't miss a 40-yard kick in the NFL. I don't care if you're
yeah,
a rookie.
yeah. No,
That's just
I'm gonna
embarrassing.
get to that one later. But I want to say, but the Jets with the Eagles, I don't know if it's me or the Eagles don't look as dominant as they've been all year. It's like if you
It's
think
not you.
about it, it's if you think about the Commanders almost beat them. The Patriots was a close game. Like they should be blowing out these. They should be blowing out these opponents. I don't know if it's like a new offense coordinator. I don't know if certain things on the margin we were missing beforehand. There's just something off about the Eagles. I still think they're going to be good. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be one of the 3 best teams in the NFC. Mainly because the NFC isn't really that good. It's like the 49ers, Lions, Eagles.
Cowboys.
Yeah. So
I mean,
so I mean
Seattle would have beat the Bengals last week if they would have learned to score in the red zone. They got inside the 10-yard line deep 3 times in the fourth quarter and walked away 0 points. Like, what are you guys doing? It was just that game was also hilarious to watch as well because the Bengals they're trying to figure some stuff out, but they also at the same time not playing that well because Joe Burrow hasn't fully come back yet. I feel like
yeah.
this year. But the Steelers play in about an hour. At this point, they go to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams are a weird team to me. 3-3. Matt Stafford still kicking. I think he's still a pretty decent quarterback. Sean McVay is a really good coach. Cooper Kupp is one of the 5 best receivers in football. I pray to God that he doesn't demolish Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson that bad today. My opinion, just put Joey Porter Jr. on him and see what he does. If he gets cooked, you know what? It's Cooper Kupp. It's whatever. He's also a rookie. But the Steelers, they have DeMarvin Leal coming back. Deontay Johnson, thank God. People like to clown on Deontay, but he's their best route runner, and he can make any catch. Like, he's a very good receiver. I think some Steelers fans don't appreciate him enough. They get the punter back. They get a couple linemen back. Pat Freiermuth, though, he's going to be out for the next month. I heard that he was rushing back from his hamstring, and he tweaked it, and the Steelers aren't happy with that. So he's going to be out for the next bit. But 2 weeks off now. I mean, the offense going to be under the microscope yet again. Najee Harris talked up a big game to the media this week. Oh yeah, we watched some film and with me and Mason Cole, and we took it to the coaches, and you're going to see some improvements this week. It's like, okay, Najee, I'll believe it when I see it, but thank you. Let's see if he can score more than 17 points today during this game against the Rams. I pray to God that Aaron Donald does not destroy Mason Cole. Please, Aaron, just take it easy on your hometown college team, at least, or your hometown, where the place where your college is, at least. But I think it is going to be close overall. Again, the Rams are just very odd. They're going to be without their starting running back, Kyron Williams. He's been really good to start the year. But if the Steelers can at least start to find some of their offensive identity, keep the splash plays allowed on defense to a minimum, let TJ and Alex Highsmith eat, I think they can come away with a win here. No Steeler game is ever a blowout, well, a win-wise at least. So if they win, it's probably going to come down to the final possession. But even though they're on the West Coast where they usually don't play that well, I expect this to be at least a decently close game. If the Steelers can win, obviously that's huge because they have to keep pace with the Ravens in the AFC North. They have the tiebreaker over them right now, but they'll still be behind them since the Ravens haven't had their bye week yet. But looking to see how they stop Stafford. How are they going to bracket Cooper Kupp? What's the game plan on offense? That's really what I'm looking forward to with this one. Please also don't coach scared. I don't need to see any more runs on 2nd and 7+ and any of that other garbage. Have an actual plan going into this game because I do think this is a winnable game before Jacksonville comes to town next week.
Yeah. Also, I want to add one more thing. If they do bracket Cooper Kupp, make sure you limit what Puka Nacua does because
he's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like with Stafford, he just kept spamming like in Detroit. He just kept spamming Calvin Johnson over and over and
Right.
over again. With the Rams, it's been Cooper Cup. This season, when Cooper Cup was out, it was Nakua. So it is interesting. Like I feel like if Stafford is your quarterback, if you're not the number one or number two receiving option, I feel bad for you because you're not really going to get targets. It's just he's just going to spam it to one, and whatever's remaining will go to another guy. But yeah, like I would say that the thing for the Steelers is limit Cooper Cup and limit Nakua, and then see what happens. And then try to just do that because if you try to triple team Cooper Cup, then they also have another target who's used to 15 catches for
Right.
140 yards. So that's gonna be the interesting thing there. And then obviously like Aaron Donald, I do not care how many guys you have, double, triple team him, do something.
I know. I'm very afraid for Kenny Pickett's life today against going up against Aaron Donald.
Were they teammates or like were they? No, they weren't teammates, right?
Him and Aaron Donald. No.
I know because I know they went to. I forgot. No, yeah.
Pitt grads, indeed. No, Aaron Donald's he's way older than Kenny.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah, because I know Kenny was there for like 5 years. I was thinking maybe there was like a 1 year.
No.
Okay, but yeah, so no, yeah, no, that's gonna be just an interesting thing there. By the way, Mark Andrews just got another touchdown. It's 35-0. Mark Andrews 2 touchdowns on National Tight End Day. Forgot to mention that today.
Yeah, National Tight End. Happy National Tight End Day to everyone.
So Travis Kelce, if you have him on fantasy, start him.
That's enough. I don't need to hear that about that story with Taylor Swift anymore.
No, we're not. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about because it's National Tight End Day. He's like tight ends are going to are going to produce really well. I'm not trying to get into that aspect of it, and that stuff's getting old for me. But yes, I think Steeler, and then today was also Terrell Suggs being inducted to the Ring of Honor. So so far the defense is playing like what Terrell Suggs is used to playing. So that was good to see. So now let's talk about the MLB playoffs. So we do have the NLCS and we have the championship series. We have the Phillies leading the Diamondbacks 3-2. The Astros leading the Rangers 3-2.
We're really going to get the rematch, aren't we? We're really going to get it, and I'm going to have to root for the Meteor yet again. Houston, I can't stand the Astros. I just want them to die. They have 9 lives. I don't need the city of Philadelphia to eat itself after another championship. Can we just please have new teams in there? But no, this is not how it's probably going to be.
Let me ask you a question though. Knowing that, again, I'm saying as an Orioles fan, so I'm just phrasing it like this. Like the Orioles GM was the guy running the drafts for Houston for like 7 years, and then their assistant GM was like the analytics guy for Houston for like 7 years, and there was a bunch of other guys. If this does become a little bit like 70% of the time it's either Baltimore or Houston in the next 5, 7 to 10, like 6 to 8 years, how much of the Houston factor comes into play? Because even though Baltimore is not Houston, Baltimore is kind of building itself like Houston. So do you think it's going to be a little bit like, it's going to be like Houston. It's going to be like the Houston thing. Is either because it's Houston or it's going to be the team that's trying to resemble Houston in terms of team construction. Do you think there's going to be that type of thing if that gets brought up?
I think so. I mean, a little bit. I don't. How do I want to say it? Like, obviously, it's not Houston. Like, it's a different organization. You can't just like, I guess feel like copy everything they do. But like, you can at least learn or use what you learn there to help your other organization and maybe blend those ideas with other ideas with people who have also been really helping that organization get back up to where they are now.
Yeah, no, because the reason I bring that point up because like everyone's just kind of going to like, first of all I think it's gonna be Houston and Philly. I like Arizona. Thanks for playing. Great season. Make 1 or 2 moves and you might be a powerhouse. The second thing, and the reason why I bring up that point is because you bring up, can we have another team other than Houston? The Orioles are also our team that kind of are a couple moves away from being that long-term monster. But at the same time, they are kind of built like Houston. So the more you bring up the Houston connections to Baltimore, if it's going to be the Houston dynasty might go away. But wait a second, this new team that's coming up has some of those people from that Houston dynasty, and they're kind of continuing the trend. It's like, when will we ever like get past the Houston stuff? So it's going to be really interesting because look, only one team can beat Houston. The Houston Astros themselves. They are Thanos. They are Thanos. Like they already have two of the Infinity Stones. They just need they're in position to potentially
No,
get their
no, no, no. You know what they're on their way to being? Kang the Conqueror. They are going to be Kang and have all these different variants. Like you kill one, but have you seen my other variants? That is what they are going to be, and probably what they already are now.
So you're saying like the one variant? You're saying that one of the variants is like the Orioles. One of the variants could be also the Mets as well, because David Stearns was an assistant GM for Houston, and now he's with the Mets with Steve Cohen as the owner. So they're going to spend money.
Yeah, like this whole organization is just Kang. Like he's just gonna conquer all of baseball, and it's so frustrating. Like you look like it looks like they're done, right? They go down 0-2 to Texas. Texas blitzed them in the first two games. And then it looks like Texas is going to win game 4, right? They were going to go up 3-1, if I recall correctly. Or was it? Yeah.
No. Game 4. No, so game 4 is the one where Houston. No, game 4 was the one they tied, and then Houston just scored 7 to just.
Oh, right. No, excuse me. Game 5, it looked like they're about to go up 3-2. And then what do you know? Freaking Frodo Baggins over here just unleashes a 3-run bomb. And I don't mean no disrespect to Jose Altuve, future Hall of Famer. He is incredible. But, Short Kings rock, at least for him. God, he can really just smash a baseball. And in that situation, it looks like the Rangers have it in the bag. Nope, he has to go and just kill their dreams. And now they're 1 win away from going back to the World Series. And they probably will, because I'm not really sure if Texas is going to go back in there and win 2 in a row.
No, because you have Framber Valdez pitching for. Well, they have Evaldi pitching today, so they can force game 7. But the Astros have Framber Valdez. If Framber Valdez does what he did in game 2, we're seeing game 7. But Framber Valdez is also a Cy Young contender for a reason, so he can be really good. And they've been using Sam Leclerc.
The Astros will have Verlander for game 7, right?
They can have Verlander for game 7, but Christian Javier has been really good in the postseason. Okay. So because he was the guy that started the no-hitter last year's World Series. So he's the guy you want. He's like the Charlie Morton type that they had in 2017. So yeah, Verlander can come in for game 7 if they need to. I think that's all hands on deck situation. And I think with the Rangers, their biggest issue was the bullpen. And look, I get it. Like, you have Evaldi, but it's sort of like you can't really trust. It's like they've been using Sam Leclerc as their closer for like every game. And then it's like, if you can get to Boers, Chapman, and Leclerc, you have a chance. But it's sort of like you can't just keep going to those 3 all the time. So it's like, it is really weird. I think that the Astros, I think, are more than likely going to win this series. I think Phillies are more than likely going to win this series, and we're going to get
who's your pick if that's the World Series?
Phillies. I think
the Phillies take them. Okay.
Because I think Phillies have better pitching. I think that Verlander's track record in the postseason isn't great. Framber Valdez could be bad. I just trust Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, and Zach Wheeler, and they could probably throw in a Taijuan Walker or someone else for game 4. I just think the starting pitching, and then look, I don't know what the Phillies have been eating for breakfast, but Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos,
there's also a curse upon Citizens Bank Park for visiting teams, not them, not the home team, visiting teams. I don't know what curse the Phillies put on that park for opposing teams, but they just don't lose at home in the postseason. It is a real home field advantage with how their fans are there.
Yeah,
and that's going to play a big part for that series, I think.
Yeah, and then also it just feels like I said, those 3, the Phillies bats are just swinging Thor's hammer every single time. Because I was just watching the game yesterday, and it's like Schwarber hits one like 440 home run. That's really cool. Then like Harper hits one, and it's like 460. It's like you can't stop these guys.
You can't.
Like Real Muto is might not be like he's really good. He might be your fifth best hitter. So look, I think it's going to be, and then I think it's going to be a rematch, and I think if the Phillies take it this time around, and look, the Houston Astros are like cockroaches at this point, so wouldn't shock me. But I just think the pitching of the Phillies are it's going to slow down the thing. Now maybe if Craig Kimbrell gets used multiple times, maybe the Astros have a chance.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah. So we'll end the show on that note. We had a shorter show today because we got the Ravens game going on, and then also Hunter, you have the Steelers game, so I want to give you enough time to get ready. If you had any plans to watch that one. So we're gonna recap the championship series, go back to Virginia Tech football, and then talk about Week 7 next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Talk to you all then.
All right.